walking down the cobble.
Hello and welcome back to another talk through. This week we're looking at These Streets. I'm joined by Nico and Adam.
Hello.
And yeah, let's get right into it. So, Nico, you wrote the initial song. Talk us through how it came to be.
Yeah, so as I may have mentioned, I don't mean to bring it up all the time, but I currently live in Sweden. And this song, Sweden has a lot of dark nights and very atmospheric in the city of Gothenburg, which is where I live. And as you're akin to do when you're living alone in a foreign country and you're single, you go on dates. So I went on a date with a girl in this city, and the song sort of was built about the atmosphere of that and the setting of the beautiful city, the cobbled streets, the trams, that sort of vibe.
Yeah. Which you can get a experience of if you watch the These Streets official music video.
You can. Let's plug it.
Link there. Or there.
Yes.
I don't know what corner I'm going to be in. A link somewhere on the screen now. Yeah, so the final product of the song was very sort of boppy and upbeat. However, I understand it didn't start that way. I said it started with a completely different structure.
Yeah, it started a bit more of a ballad. I mean, the very initial thought, which I've completely forgotten about, but the very initial lyrics I wrote for it had a completely different structure to even my final demos before I brought it to you guys.
Yeah.
So I think I'm guessing everyone who's watching this will know the song. So, but the original lyric note that I wrote as my initial form of inspiration was walking down the cobbled streets, cold not lonely, the light in her eyes as she talks to me, I can see her only. Which I mean is a very different structure to how it turned out. You can see the obvious connections, but that was the initial start point.
Yeah, very poetic though.
Yeah, I mean I aim to be, and especially with a scene that has a lot of visual aspects and is I like to try and paint a picture without trying to be too over the top.
Yeah, which makes sense. So when you wrote it, obviously it was more ballady. So as you said with Sweet Summer Girl, it was sort of written acoustically, but not with the genre in mind.
Yes.
Was this one written with that sort of ballady genre in mind?
Yeah, I had a bit more of that. I think I had a bit more direction than Sweet Summer Girl did in terms of how I envisaged it turning out. Though partway through writing it myself, I did switch up, pick up the tempo a bit, which will, when we come to hearing some of the original versions, we'll see that. But the first thing I wrote was the first verse, which walking down the cobbled streets at night, feeling less troubled with you by my side, and you can sort of feel the more ballady flow in those lyrics. And then I think the initial closing lines for the first verse were seeing the lights glow, reflected in puddles on the ground, living in the moment, do I dare to hold your hand? Mm-hmm. Which I mean was very obvious. The last lyric was the one that changed. I think that was partly once I brought it to you guys and we brought it to Adam, and Adam was looking at sing-throughs. I think that's when that changed to we're breathing in the sound. So I'll let Adam talk about that a bit.
Yeah, so I found it very beneficial when we've all managed to come together to do lyrics passes, as we call them. As the lead singer, I'd see myself sort of just like that final sort of filter, as it were. Like, I like to go through and sort of check specific words to see how they'll actually sound on a sing through, and then sort of alter them to make it sound a bit brighter or to enhance the mood a bit more. And I think it's been really good in that way that we could just sort of have a look at all the lyrics, and it's better, 5 heads are better than 1.
Yeah, definitely.
Breathing in the sound is one of the lyrics that I really is one of my favorite lyrics, I think, and it wasn't even an initial lyric. It was one that came out really nicely. It's a nice image for me. Yeah,
well, it creates an excellent image, especially given what's going on at that point in the song, where you're sort of sharing this moment of a song.
Yeah,
it's quite a very nice image to have.
Mm-hmm.
In the chorus as well, because like in this song, the first verse only had that one line change, and in the chorus there were no major changes. As you were struggling with the second line though.
Yeah, so as you play with the music, the line now is, as you play me the music that brought you here, but I had, as you show me the song that brought you here, as you show me the music that brought you here. It was all linked to, so the date I went on there was part of the date. We were both very into music and we were discussing music, and there was a specific Swedish artist called, I have to try and pronounce this right, called Håkan Hellström, who is really, really big in Sweden, and he's especially linked with Gothenburg. He has music that he's written about this, and that was, at least she had said that it was part of her inspiration for coming to that city to study. So that was the link there, and that was my thought with, you show me the song, you show me the music, but playing the music definitely worked better.
That was definitely one of the collaborations that we worked with when we were doing the lyrics pass, because I was singing it through and I quite liked the sound of the sort of, as you play me the music,
yeah,
and it's all about rhythm. The vocal take on this is all about the rhythm and the slightly swung nature of it.
I think there was a little argument about that line, actually, because I very much wanted to keep this image of playing the music, and you guys are a bit like, what?
Yeah.
It didn't make much sense.
There were a few lines that you talked us around. I know that I was quite opposed to the Trambell still ringing line.
Yes.
I'm very glad that you managed to talk around on that, because it sounds fantastic.
I think it was all about delivery, and we'll get to it later, but I think it only works if you deliver it a certain way and with a specific rhythm. And
well, it's very different. Obviously, my demo was very different to how Adam interpreted the vocals, and we'll hear some of that later on.
Walking down the cobble streets tonight.
It's interesting listening to that, actually, because obviously it's a lot slower, but it's not actually swung in that version either.
No, the swing came in a bit later.
Yeah,
it was definitely straighter at the time.
It's interesting, because that's like one of the most defining characteristics of this song.
Yeah, it really is, and I think as we'll see later, you certainly injected some elements when we came to demoing that pulled it that way. But yeah, that was the sort of first initial sound for it.
Yeah,
and I sort of wonder what was I doing, because my guitar playing sounds awful, and I do have something I find a lot in my voice notes is a page turn midway through, which is always entertaining.
It was always a nightmare when it came to demo stuff. I couldn't put the audio in
turn.
because there's a page tone which knocks. You're really consistent on your tempo. However, you put a page tone and then everything's off by like 2 beats. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's one of the curses of always liking to write physically.
Yeah.
On pen and paper. And yeah, I'm a bit of I like to do that. I like to cross things out and scribble things down, which also makes them unreadable as well. So
yes. Moving on from the chorus and into verse 2.
Yeah, this one was definitely, as I said in the Sweet Summer Girl chat we had, definitely as the genesis of the song, the first verse and chorus are generally quite close in theme. They're quite easy. They come quite naturally because they're your inspiration. But then as you go further in the song, it sometimes becomes harder, and you need to try and not overcomplicate things. So definitely the second verse was a lot more difficult for me. I mean, the first line didn't really change. It was initially a cold and dark winter far away from home. We just added in winter's night. I think that was a rhythmic thing for Adam.
Yeah.
To try and get the syllables going nicely.
I think it helps it keep it focused on this one night as well.
Yeah, that is true.
It's very descriptive language there, so I think that sort of adds to the mood.
Yeah, and I think night definitely it reinforces the fact that it's a dark, like it's not just a day. It's very much an evening night scene.
Yeah.
And then we go into that metaphor, not that metaphor, that image more as the verse goes on. I just want you to hold me, someone I can call my own. I think that never changed in the whole songwriting process. And then these last two lines were another that we went back and forth in quite a bit between within myself and also with you guys. So I think So the actual pair is your face bathed in streetlight, looking at the shimmer in your eyes, a city in the nighttime, the birds singing with the sunrise, which is a lovely pair of lyrics and very beautiful. So shimmer is a really nice word to sing, I'm sure, Adam.
I think we spent quite a lot of time debating over whether it should be glimmer
did.
or shimmer. But
Yeah,
I think I
or
just prefer
glitter.
saying shimmer.
Yeah, I mean, when I initially did it, I think the initial line was your reflection in a shop window looking in your glittering eyes, which
Yeah,
I guess glittering is a bit of a mouthful to sing.
Glittering is, yeah, it's well, that's the thing. When you're singing these through, I mean, it's nice when you get a nice ing word, because, like, for
Mhm.
example, trambell still ringing. We'll get
Yes.
on to. It's just so nice because you get to sort of open your
Mhm.
throat a bit more, and you get to use the back of your nose really to sort of it's sort of like between like the back of your nose and your
Yeah.
mouth where you can sort of make it really ring.
yeah.
But I imagine glittering was a bit.
Yeah, it was a
It's,
bit too much.
A bit mouthy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then this
Yeah.
very last line as well. A city in the nighttime. It initially was the birds sing till the sunrise, and you were like, what birds sing
All
until the
night.
sunrise?
Yeah, that was one hell of a debate because it was when you
It was.
explained where that lyric came from, it made sense. However, the fact that all
Yeah.
of us, other than you, thought exactly the same thing
Well,
was a moment where it was like,
it was
okay,
a bit
maybe
of
there
a
is a slight problem with this one.
well, it was a bit of a silly thing. I mean, she'd mentioned the girl that I was on this date with. She'd mentioned at some point that she was annoyed because birds were keeping her up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And so that's what that lyric is. But so obviously in my head it made sense, but I realized that no, it's not going to make sense to anyone else. So it's just a bit stupid to have the lyric like that. So I think it was good you talked me around.
And it's nice the way it came out, the way it was actually sung as well. I think, yeah,
Yeah, the
it works
sunrise
better with
as it builds is nice. So you sort of got the vision that you're coming out of the night into the morning, and you sort of as the song
yeah.
crescendos.
Yeah, there was a bit with the ends of those verses, or sort of like leading into the choruses. I do like a little bit of a slide, if you can hear that in the
Yeah.
It's sort of like sunrise, and it's sort of like
It's a nice link.
It propels it into the chorus.
Yeah, no, definitely.
That's great.
So yeah, yeah.
Then going on, so obviously that's the lyrics. Obviously, it's just choruses after that.
Yeah.
But the final version that you sent us was much closer to full speed, and it had the swing back in it.
Walking down the cobbled streets at night, feeling less trouble.
So yeah, so in that one, it's we've got that swung rhythm. We've got the gap between the intro and the start of the vocals. And just generally it's got a much closer energy and a much closer feel to how the actual final song came out.
I guess from listening back to it when I was writing, I think I pretty much arrived at the place where I was with the lyrics, and I didn't think that it necessarily needed more lyrics. But yeah, I was messing around with the song. I sort of just felt it wanted more energy. It needed sort of with the vocal line, just to keep it going, help it not to drag. And yeah, for me, it felt like it wanted a bit of swing, a bit of rhythm to sort of give it still within that sort of ballady feel, but a bit more swung, a bit more up tempo,
A lot more energy.
Yeah,
and it was really nice. Going back to that, you also had an extra chord.
Yeah,
which
I think it was a
didn't end up
C
using
or something.
Yeah.
No, I think that's one of the things that from an acoustic point of view, if I'm just writing a song acoustically, often you'll try and make things more interesting by throwing in extra chords into gaps and things. But then obviously when we come to demoing, when we come to actually making the song, you can fill the gaps with other instruments. You can make it more interesting.
The arrangement manages to fill those gaps nicely.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But yeah,
Makes a big difference.
So moving on to arrangement,
Yes.
you guys are going to love hearing this bit of demo because this is some of my finest producerial work with some terrible brass
Oh,
samples.
yeah. Oh, I have some words about the brass samples.
Walking down the cobble streets at night, feeling less troubled with you by my
Right, so you've just heard the intro and a bit of the first verse there from the demo the initial demo that I did. You'll get to hear.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you get to hear a couple more juicy parts as we talk through the song. But I just wanted to talk about this first. So in terms of the intro, obviously started off with that sort of drum roll.
Yeah. Very much kicked it off with
Yeah.
the way we wanted the song to sound.
But it stayed that drum roll stayed pretty late in our revisions and only got changed to that sort of chordal rundown
Yeah.
quite late on, really. I think that was just because
Yeah.
I was definitely feeling like it was just missing something.
I felt like it lingered on it a bit too much, whereas like the chordal rundown was just quick and sharp and just took you straight into verse 1.
It's a
Yeah.
bit more
No,
interest as
that's
well
true.
by having it that way because it's something a bit different and it's very stabby and very
Mhm.
it was nice.
Well, yeah, it catches your attention straight away, and it's
Definitely.
yeah, and then yeah, the thing that really stood out to me on that listen there was the walking bass coming
Yeah.
straight in.
That really pushed the style, made it really clear what we were going for.
Yeah,
We've
No,
we've
it
had
was-
a
it was
few
great.
comments. We've had a few comments on the walking bass, I think, saying that it's unorthodox to hear it in a sort of modern song, as it were. But that makes it quite interesting, I feel, because not a lot
I
of
agree.
people use the walking bass now.
Yeah.
And
no, yeah,
it just adds something to it.
Yeah, I think the biggest change that we had was so in the initial demo, the walking bass was going all the way through, but the decision to take it out for verse 2 and sort of sap that energy, and then sort of halfway through have sort of like the half riff, and then have it smash back in the final chorus. That's like it was such a simple little arrangement trick,
Mhm.
but it made such a huge difference to the impact of those final choruses.
Well, I think also tying in lyrically, you take out the really warm, fun walking bass, and you go in with the line "a cold and dark winter's night,
Yeah.
far away from home." You instantly you take the positivity out of it. You really like emphasize those lyrics, and I think it really made the message of that verse shine through really nicely.
Absolutely. So in terms of bits of arrangement that didn't make it into the final version, we have the brass, which I think was a good decision to not have. I think switching that out for
yeah.
organ and piano was definitely the correct decision.
Yes. I don't know. I mean, if we had like if we had the luxury of using live brass, which obviously at the moment we don't, it could have sounded particularly interesting. But yeah, I think the organ it sounds great all the way through, and it really bolsters the song.
I think we're all a big fan of brass, but obviously be recording all of this music in lockdown, with all the restrictions we had, and whilst we tried our best, and I think we did a good job with everything. Obviously, getting live brass was not really an option.
No, not particularly. But I think I prefer the organ anyway. It feels a bit more.
Yeah.
It seemed to fit quite well, and the piano definitely livened it up massively.
Oh yeah, the piano
Definitely.
comping was really nice.
Yeah.
Oh, these streets were just made for loving. As you play me the music that brought you here. Oh, these streets were just made for loving. As I kiss you, I hear the tram bells still ringing.
Moving forward into the chorus, and we have the first incarnation of the choiry R's. Well, I think they're wahs at that point.
Whoa.
Wah, because I am not as technical a singer as Adam, and that's all I could manage.
But I mean, in the demo, it gave it a bit. It linked it a bit to almost sort of doo-wop sort of style, and gave you that sort of feel.
Yeah.
And
I
energy.
guess that's what also influenced the vocal performance of it too. Like the fact that you've got this sort of backing. I guess that it makes it feel like it could easily be performed live with just like a bunch of backing singers there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're a big fan of the singers of older generations, like the Frank Sinatras and such.
Oh yeah. I feel like that's definitely what I took influence from here, like sort of the traditional Vegas Rat Pack type singers.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you can definitely hear that in bits of your performance.
We're breathing in the sound. Oh, these streets were just made for loving. So play me the music that brought you here.
Like my chorus that I had there, followed by the final chorus, and we can just hear the sort of the really wide vowels you had in your performance, Adam, especially on brought. That's a highlight for me.
That is a thick brought right there.
Brought.
Yeah, I thought I basically went through. I did quite a lot of sort of run throughs and recordings and takes, and I just went through. I wanted to eke quite a lot of the vowels and just try and make them as big and bright as humanly possible. So I looked. It's being a singer, you're constantly looking in the mirror, unfortunately. So yeah, it's all about mouth position and but not overdoing it, but it's mainly working from the core to try and produce that sound.
I think this song really played to your strengths in terms of control, having really long phrases and that power and strength was
Oh yeah, it's a really difficult song to sing. That's what I'd say. Just because of the swung aspect of it, it's taking from a variety of styles, like even taking from barbershop stuff. So having that experience in the past really helped to sing it.
No, it's good. And then obviously that first demo also had the a cappella ending.
All these streets were just made for loving. As you play me the music that brought you here. All these streets were just made for loving. As I kiss you, I hear the tram bell still ringing.
And yeah, so it's basically the same as how the end of the song. When I was demoing it, I thought I initially did it with strummed acoustic guitar chords, and it felt like a bit of a waste because we had these R's going through the chorus. I felt like it'd be nice to just drop it down to that vocal, and it definitely
I think
works
almost
nicely.
With the guitar, you almost sap energy. You almost take energy out of it by having an extra instrument as well. So I think it was a great idea to put it in, especially considering the style we were going for and the fact that that there weren't lots of lyrics. So I mean, to round out the song, round it off with something that works quite well to sort of build it down and close it up.
Yeah, and it felt like a very natural fade out, I guess. Yeah, it really did feel like it wasn't losing energy, but it just felt like it was sort of getting ready for bed. It was nice.
Yeah, it's just like the reduction in texture, I'd say. That's how it was. But in a good way. Not in, it's like it's losing all momentum. It's sort of, it could be taken as an entirely different section. Like, just, it's the a cappella ending now. It's just like, it's completely just stripped back.
Absolutely.
But I think this really highlights. So when we were talking about, we were saying it earlier, the tram bell's still ringing as a line, and you were quite against that, Sam, at least in part. But the real thing I wanted from that line is sort of to make that line ring. And when we got to the final version with Adam's final take, like you've got these a cappella section, and you end with his ringing, and it's resonating. It's really rich. That was very much the what I envisaged. So that was awesome.
It's nice.
Oh, yeah.
It was able to get all that sound with a stark ending as well, because they all, obviously once a voice has stopped, it stopped, and you just have that reverb tail of everyone, and then it's done, and it's a nice sharp line.
Yeah, ringing is definitely one of my favorite words ever to sing. Just because the fact that it's got 2 ings in there, so you can literally like, and just
was that before this song, or was that a new discovery?
I think I discovered it during this, but like, you know, the singers just really like ing, just to sing ing.
You know that he likes barbershop when his example of why he likes it is so he can go ing.
Oh yeah, that's what I had to. Funnily enough, I am sort of currently working on the barbershop arrangement, and it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, that's where I took the ringing influence from. I took it straight out of barbershop.
Yeah, no, it's nice. And then we ended up with this really cool, really sort of jazzy, poppy, bouncy song.
Yeah,
I really did. It came a really long way from where it started.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think I don't think there's anything stylistically that we've done that is quite like this in all the music we've made. So
no, not at all. I think that's.
I don't know.
It's.
No.
I enjoy the fact that we've got such a range.
Yeah, well, as I said before, and on the last one, and obviously now Adam's here, I can say it to his face, but they're very much we write a lot of different styles, and he ties it all up for us and creates this with his vocal style, really like creates a uniform sound, and that's why we're able to take genres like this, take things like Sweet Summer Girl. You'll hear other songs coming soon in from different genres as well, but very much ties it together.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think the main thing with this band is that we never wanted to be a one-trick pony. We wanted to try out different styles and fusions and that type of thing. And I like to sing in different styles, so I think that works quite well. Because if I was just like a metal singer, we'd have a very different product.
Yeah,
I don't think Andy would complain too much.
No,
but yeah, no,
probably not.
I really enjoy it. I enjoy it.
That just about wraps it up for what we've got to talk about for these streets. Thank you very much, Nico and Adam, for joining me on this trip and look back.
Yeah, no, it progressed a lot more than I thought it would. Than it had, rather. I didn't quite remember how different the initial drafts were, but yeah, a really good team effort in terms of the sound of it, and awesome how it came out.
Definitely. Any final thoughts, Adam?
Yeah, it's sort of quite rare as a singer to sort of get this much bass material which you can really add to, and the lyrics which Nico writes and then we all sort of edit at the end. It's such a joy as a singer to just be able to wrap your voice around some of these lyrics. Yeah,
that's great. And then from my point of view, I love the fact that we're getting these songs coming in and I'm allowed pretty much free reign, do whatever the hell I want. It's great fun.
And no one gets too offended.
Exactly. It's brilliant. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, then give it a like because it just makes sense. If you have anything else you'd like us to talk through or anything else you'd like us to talk about, then leave us a comment saying what that is. Make sure you subscribe. And there will be more of these in the future. So we'll see you next time. Bye.
As you play me the music that brought you here. Oh, these streets were just